just to clarify, so you have a 24 unit deal,
Yep.
and you sent it to somebody, and then they said it was too small.
Yeah, well, the 34 unit, yeah, exactly. The four
Okay.
is a it's a four property 34 unit total. He said it was just too small because he's looking for, I don't, you'll probably know this better than me, but he's looking for 3 mil in profit, I guess, when they sell after they do the value add.
So I want a couple things to talk about. So keep in mind that when you're speaking to somebody about, like, let's just say you got a lead, right? You said you got a
Yeah, yeah.
34 unit deal as an example. By the way, let's bring it up real fast so I can kind of support you here, right?
The kind of pack that he's going with, they're all going to be on Mulberry. So it's like 1004, 1008, and or one of them's going to be on
Yeah,
Prairie, but
1004,
they're
1008,
kind of the
1016.
same setup.
Got it. It's like it's these.
Yep.
Okay, and how much does he want?
He said five.
5 mil for, and you said it was how many units total?
Yep. 34, he said.
All right, price per door. All right, let's doing some math.
Yeah, it came out to like 147, I think, a little over 147 a door.
Nice. Yep, divided by 34, 147. Great. And then what's the income on the deal?
So that's where I kind of hit a snag, was because he's not willing to give me any details. And
Okay.
this is what I talking to
Okay.
the
So what you do is
on
let's play hardball. I'll play hardball too.
yeah, yeah,
So what we're gonna do is Mulberry, right? Mulberry Street, right? Denton. You can see here, this first one here is the correct address in Denton, and you can see it's rented or offered for rent. If I scroll down, shows here it's got 1 and 2 bed. I mean, I can find a lot of information just by Googling, right? So 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. This is the address. This is the 2-story building. It's offered for 1,040 for a 1 bedroom, 450 square feet. It says available as of now. And then now this one even shows the 2 bedroom, right? A 2 bedroom unit available in August for
yeah.
1799. Okay, cool. Let's see how pretty these units are. You can see, I mean, they're at least clean. I mean, they're obviously not super updated, but they're clean. They're nice, right? This is,
Right.
I don't know what else you'd be expecting, right?
Yes, well, especially for a college town. It's University of North Texas right there. So that's basically what they're going to be rented out to.
Yep, got it. So unit campus, it talks about across from the street from the campus. Yeah, this is specifically basically talking to, that type of clientele. See, another unit available in August, another unit, 1 bedroom available in August. So this is like a college. I mean, this is this is student housing, right? 100% student
Yes.
housing.
Yeah.
So just understand student housing deals are also like, a very specific type of buyer, right? So number one, you can see this, you can say 1,040 for the ones and 1,799 for the twos. Obviously you can see they have a lot of ones available and very little twos available. Let's go back one page here. Apartments.com, here you go. Some such place, nice. That's a
Yeah.
interesting.
That's exactly what I did. Is went to apartments.com.
So this will give me a little bit of understanding of what's going on with the situation, right? It's showing me here that the building this is 44 units. This is what I wanted to stress to you, that like apartments.com is not always accurate. This one says 44
Okay.
units and 2 stories. Clearly this is not 44 units. But it does, I like how it sometimes though, what it'll do is that it'll tell me like, okay, well this building is clearly both, right? It's got 2 beds and 1 beds, 500 square feet and 895 square feet. Okay, so a lot of the very similar
Love it.
type of units. So it'll give me some data, but not all of its accurate. So you just got to make sure you double check and triple check. Okay, so let's just say that of the 34 units, let's say worst case they're all 1 bedrooms. Okay, which means
Okay.
1,040 rented, right? So 1,040 times 34 units gives you 35,000.
360. Yeah.
Yep. Times 12 gives us the 424, 320. Now, because it's college, right, the student housing deals, you're typically going to have a much higher vacancy rate and
Okay.
a much higher repair estimate every year.
Gotcha.
Okay. So typically I would say vacancy rate for an normal apartment building this size would be 5%. And normal repairs and maintenance would typically also be 5%. In this case, we're going to probably have to do 10% for each.
Okay.
Okay, 10% for each, which is crazy to even think about, but you're still going to be paying a crazy amount of money and cost here, which means that you're going to almost have an $80,000 a year vacancy and repair budget.
Gotcha.
We didn't
Yes.
pay
So 80.
taxes yet, right? Like we didn't even
Yeah.
check out.
84.
Yeah, we didn't pay any expense. We didn't pay anything yet. And this tax, did he tell you what the taxes are here or no?
No, but I can look here. I got
I'm looking at it too.
87, 875. So
Well, hold on.
property taxes 17,513.
Yeah, well, that was last year. 2022 was last year's, and I got 16,707.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then the other side, which is 104, let's see what the taxes are here, another 18,000. And then you probably got another building here, which has got, so we got 16, 18, I guess that might be the same one. 18, 16, yeah. 18,606. It might actually be three buildings. I mean, so if you're doing 18,606, 616 times 2, that is 37 grand. I'm rounding. 37 grand plus 16 grand for the other one. I'm going to continue rounding. That's 43, 43, 53. So 53 in taxes for all three buildings, right? Because it's three buildings.
Okay. Yeah. So 8. So that's 132, 135-ish.
That's only taxes, vacancy, and repairs. We haven't done
Right.
management. We haven't done any utility costs. We haven't done anything else, right? I haven't done insurance. So let's just say we do insurance for about 700 or 700 bucks a unit. 700 bucks a unit times 34 is what?
23,800.
Right. So add the 23,800, 23,800.
Okay.
And now again, you're gonna have utility costs, right? So the utility cost is, someone's got to pay water, someone's got to pay electric, someone's got to pay the gas. So if we estimate that every single one of those things in total, let's just say is another, call it, because you're probably going to have a lot of very expensive electric when it gets cold, right? Or
Yeah, or in the summer, right? Yeah.
Or sorry, that's what I have to say. Very expensive
Yeah.
electric for the AC, and then a lot of gas usage during the winter, right? So let's just say you're going to add in an extra, 60 grand in utility, or maybe even more, maybe 80 grand a year in utility cost, right? Which is literally maybe 2 to 3 grand or 2,500 grand a unit.
So we're at So we're at we're at 238, 232 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, cool. So about 50% expense ratio. I was gonna guess about a 50% expense ratio, roughly.
Okay.
Just guessing off the top of my head.
And then just by looking at it, kind of thing.
Well, just because student housing is typically way more expensive, because if it was a regular traditional multifamily property, again, by the way, this is assuming worst case scenario. We did all one bedrooms, and we're assuming the fact that the landlord pays all utilities, which, by the way, I'm imagining the tenant is probably going to pay some of it. But obviously, with no financials, I have to be incredibly conservative, and so do you. So does a buyer.
Yeah. Okay. Right? Love it.
So the point is, let's just run it at a 50% expense ratio, okay? Now that we're kind of getting in that ballpark. So 424, 320, but I like that you're doing exact, but let's just say that we do 50% times 0.5. That puts us at around a 212 net, even 200, right? You could even do an even 200 grand, just for quick math purposes. We're somewhere in that ballpark. Now, obviously, the true NOI is probably substantially higher than 200, but he hasn't given us anything to prove it. So it's like it's like a lawsuit, proven until proven until found guilty or whatever, or if proven found innocent, right? So the point is that we want to make these estimates until he proves otherwise.
I love it. Okay, cool.
In this instance, the way we have to look at this is like, okay, well, at a 200 net, I got to be at something in the vicinity of an 8, 9, or 10 cap. So if he bought this deal, and again, a long time ago, 1997, this man bought this deal, and let's see if there's any debt on it. Did he refinance it? He has not refinanced it once. He has no debt on this building. Good for him. What's important to keep in mind is that, okay, well, if you look at my screen now, right, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
All right, it's probably enough. Okay, ready? So now I'm going to do search this area. I'm going to go to more filters. So this is all in Reonomy. I'm going to go to multifamily, general, sales within the last 2 years, 66 sales.
Okay.
And I want to do taxes above 15 grand, which is exactly where ours is. Okay, this gives me all of these properties. Here you go, 36 unit deal. Doesn't tell me how much it was, which is kind of annoying. You're obviously going to ignore this one for $532 million. But let's go to table view so we can at least look a little bit. We're going to go by units. Just make it easier for me to do some math. So I want the clean, easy ones. Ignore the 73 million, the 70 million, whatever these are. Ignore them, because it's either I don't even understand where Reonomy is sometimes getting these numbers from. But this one looks accurate, right? So it's like, okay, well, if this deal just sold 18 units for 22. What is the price per unit here?
How many units? 18.
18. Yep, right here.
What do we got? Is that 150?
Probably 150, right? Wait, so hold on. So 2264 divided by 18. There you go, 125. 2264. I'm just rounding.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, 125 a unit. So that gives you a little bit of an idea, right? And it's like, okay, well, what does this deal look like? So you're going to want to look at it, right? We'll go to Google. Let's see what this building looks like and see how similar. 19 units, 2 stories. So this one even says that, I mean, either Reonomy's wrong or apartments.com is wrong. But this one obviously looks a little bit nicer,
Yeah.
a little bit prettier,
Yeah, that one's super. Yeah, that's a lot prettier.
right? A lot prettier. And this one sold for 125. And in heck, if it was if it was 19 units, 264 divided by 19, that was 119,000 a unit.
Good old Scott Brown.
So this gives you an idea. It's like, okay, well, this was an interesting comp, and this one sold recently, right? If I go back to Rihanna,
Oh,
this one sold in December of 23, right? It wasn't that long ago. So that's a great comp to look at. So it's like, okay, I mean, again, ignoring all the rest of the garbage because you can't even, like, you can't, there's no other prices here. Obviously, with larger multifamily co-stars, probably a better place to find details because sometimes Reonomy doesn't have the best data.
okay.
But it helps enough, right? Because the problem is that, like, you can't even tell half of these. I mean, obviously you can Google them and try to figure out what they are. Like, you know, we could look this one up real fast and try to say, like, okay, well, what is this? Like, okay, how many units is this? Pods? I don't even know how many units this is. You can see there's a bunch of 2 bedrooms trying to rent for $1,900, which is nice. But let's see what this. I mean, look, this looks like a brand new building. I mean, I don't. Maybe it's this building or maybe it's these. We got to look into it a little bit. Let's see. 1 and 2 bedrooms, 1425 for the ones and 1900 for the twos. I mean, that obviously looks like a much bigger. That's a much
Yeah.
bigger rent. Much better rent.
Yeah, and that's just so much super nice. I mean, there was a duplex that I was doing some numbers on that I was like between for the twos 1,600 and 1,450. So that sounds. I mean, that sounds pretty right on.
I can't even click this. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Come on.
So he's asking for like a four cap right now, huh? For 5 million.
It definitely looks like it, and also the price per unit seems substantially higher.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out if we can find this one here. By the way, kind of hard to tell how many units it is, but this one here just sold for 4. This one in 2022, though. I mean, I got to keep that in mind. But this is also interest rates were obviously up on the rise. That one sold for 4.6 million bucks. Now, what's interesting though is that okay, you can kind of give a rough estimate because 18 units was 12,910. That if you took an average price per square foot, right, 12,910 divided by let's say 18, that's 707 square feet times, or actually 717. Sorry. So you take 22,617 divided by 717. That's 32 units. So again, you got to be a detective here. You got to do some kind of detective work and kind of work backwards if he doesn't want to give you information, right? So it's like, okay, this building, which obviously is a lot nicer and getting substantially more in rent, and probably also is not a student housing deal. So because of that, you know, this property is going to sell for way more money. And this property sold, by the way, let's just say it was 32 units. I'm estimating, or I call it 30, just for quick math, right? So 4.6 million bucks divided by 30 units, it's 153,000 a unit, but obviously way more money. And not that you have to even rent that building, by the way. You don't have to rent it to college kids. It just seems to be his business.
Sure. Yeah. Just right.
Keep that in mind. Like, okay, well, he wants like 140 some odd a door. It's not horribly off, but he's also, you know, he got to, you know, probably dollar cost average in another 10 to 20,000, maybe $25,000 for 2 things. Number one, renovations, right? You're going to have to make it just as pretty as this competitor, right? And then the other piece of it is, you know, the fact that, you know, for longer term rentals, it's a much different type of clientele.
Exactly.
You know, and plus you want to have some type of profit margin in there. So if this one sold at the top end of the market here, this was, by the way, built. It says built in 2021. This is brand new construction. Brand new construction just sold for 150 some odd thousand a unit, right? So if that is the case, yeah, this guy probably wants way too much money for his deal.
Right, and he's seeing what we're seeing, and he's, you know, the owner, so that's what he wants.
Yeah, and like, look, here's another one, right? So this one is very similar square footage, but built in 1982. This one actually sold for 4.9 million bucks, but that was August of 22. So interest rates were still actually they're a little bit higher here. I mean, a little bit lower. Sorry, they were a little bit lower.
Sure.
So doing some math, you're like, that's how I kind of auto calculate based on, you know, looking at a little bit of their details here.
All right, I love it.
So it's like, okay, well, now you can go back to him and say like, hey, if I got you an offer somewhere around like maybe the 110 range, right? 110 times 34. Give him an offer for like 3.5 million. See what he says. A little bit under that.
Yeah.
See what he says.
Exactly. Okay.
Right, and then you know, get some feedback, because the interesting thing is like also when you're sending this deal to a guy, like the guy you sent the deal to, and the guy said it was like, oh well, I want to make $3 million net. It's really hard to make $3 million net when you're overpaying for the deal.
Right. Right. I like it. No, that's a good breakdown. No, I like that. Yeah, and I guess when I'm calling, I have a loan maturity list that I've been calling on, and it's kind of dealing with getting a lot of phone numbers for like their corporate headquarters, you know what I mean? And their kind of assistant or whatever answers. Do you have any kind of tips to maybe talk to the decision maker, I guess, to where, hey, I'm looking for Mike Smith. And the lady will say, does he know you're calling, or do you have his email, or blah blah blah,
Yeah,
so and
so
so.
you just got to shift your approach, which is like, well, look, when you're calling a decision maker, you got to realize that 99 times out of 100, it's a woman. It's an older woman who's probably answering the phone. Answering the phone, she's a secretary. The entire job of that individual is to do what? What is their entire job as a gatekeeper?
Yeah, to weed out the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to help to make sure you don't speak to Mike, the owner.
Right, exactly.
Just keep in mind, so like it's a lot of that. In order to move forward through that, you want to become her good friend, someone that she can trust. It's like, listen, like I was calling, like, hey, Sally, my name is Henry from XYZ Commercial. I was just calling to speak with Mike. Well, does Mike know you're calling? He actually, we spoke probably 12 to 24 months ago about one of his commercial properties. I promised him I'd call him back just to touch base to see how he's doing.
I like it.
I want to be
Okay.
gentle. I want to be and listen. Am I stretching the truth a little bit? Yes, yes, I am. But at the same time, I just want to. She is going to make up some type of answer. I'm telling you.
Sure.
She's gonna make it up because, as in, like, if you said, "Does Mike want to sell his commercial property?" What do you think she's gonna say?
Yeah, no, right.
No,
Yeah.
no, but she has no idea. She has no idea what's going on. So the point is, she is an irrelevant piece of the puzzle when it comes to asking any actual specific questions. You can't ask her
Hmm.
anything. She's not going to give you the correct answer. She's going to give you the exact opposite. So just becoming gentle and kind and loving to this individual to try to either get an email. She's never ask for the direct phone number. They're rarely gonna give it to you.
Right.
But you can
Sure.
say, like, what's his best email? I want to make sure. I think I got the wrong email last time. Maybe just say, like, I didn't get his email last time. I just wanted to grab his email so I can send him a quick email.
I like it. Okay.
So listen, man. Any other questions? Make sure you drop it in the WhatsApp group. It's probably the best way again
Okay.
to get some quick answers for you. And during the Wednesday trainings, 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern, just come on. The first hour is all cold calling. The second hour is all Q&A. So just bring your questions. We'll make sure we do a deep dive for you.